WTM.com. It's worth the trip.
Baird has invested in the vitality of downtown Milwaukee for over a century. Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Stanek, president of Baird Funds. Baird is a world-class financial services firm. As one of downtown's largest employers, we believe in supporting the communities we serve. We're proud to call downtown our home, and even prouder to elevate our city's world-class amenities with a new convention center. Experience it for yourself. Go to MilwaukeeDowntown.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Wrapping up a Monday edition of Wisconsin's Midday News, Greg and Adam Roberts in for Jessica Ty today. She will be back tomorrow. I want to thank Christian Yelich and Omar Sheikh for joining us in studio. If you want more information on Yelly's event here, just check out the Visit Milwaukee website, /Yelich, or just pop it into the Google machine. July 25th, Christian Yelich and the Yelich family presenting their home plate charity concert. And again, that'll be at the Pabst Theater, July 25th. Looking forward to that. Of course, check out the Yelly podcast on our Wisconsin's Midday News page at WTMJ.com. That was cool having him in on his off day.
I'm glad you brought the question up of playing yourself in a video game as just being an absolutely surreal experience, as we had our conversation earlier on this National Video Game Day.
Absolutely. And I've always wondered that with athletes. Do you play yourself? Do you jack your rating up to put yourself at a 99 if you're not?
Well, he said he has his 99 card that he keeps with him. It's one of his featured mantle place items.
That is pretty impressive stuff. So, yeah, Christian and the Brewers will be back on the field tomorrow, beginning a 3-game series against the Pirates. Adam and I out, spanning the state with Brian and Kristen, coming up after this.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
The Exchange Beer Garden at Zillman Park supports a local nonprofit. Proceeds from beer garden sales go to funding Bayview Community Center programs such as its food pantry and kids and parenting classes. Cost Corporation stock increases by over 250%. The Milwaukee-based stereo headphone company's share price rose as high as $18.73 per share on July 3rd, a more than 300% increase with over 70 million shares traded. Ascension, Wisconsin increasing the list price for room and board by as much as 20% at its Milwaukee area hospitals. The price increases took effect July 1st. I'm Logan Hansen with MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on News Radio WTMJ.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstad. It's swimming season, or for some of us, golfing or gardening season, but you're not out there enjoying your favorite hobby because you're sidelined from arthritic joint pain. Bone-on-bone pain in your knees or hips, maybe? Here's what you do. You call QC Kinetics. There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you the lasting relief you need. QC Kinetics is helping patients all the time. I'm talking cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. It's not sorcery, it's technology, and you don't need surgery. Call QC Kinetics. The local professionals at QC Kinetics in Greenfield and in Mequon are ready to help you. Here's the phone number, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
I'm Randy from All Right Home and Remodeling. Did you know that ROI and exterior home improvements are some of the highest? Some sources say new vinyl siding nets 76% ROI and stone veneer is over 100%. Chances are you've seen your property value increase pretty significantly in the past few years. Want to increase it even more and improve curb appeal? Beautify your home's exterior. There's some great tax breaks to take advantage of too. Call us today to set up a free consultation or visit ALLRITE remodeling.com.
It was a sobering headline. Social Security to run short by 2035. A possible 17% reduction in benefits. At Annex Wealth Management, we feel that Social Security is only one leg of the retirement stool, but it provides needed balance. It's time to stress test your retirement plan and move forward with guidance from the fee-only fiduciaries at Annex. Do it for you, your family, your legacy. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. It only takes a few minutes to get the ball rolling. Head to AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button.
The Republican National Convention countdown is on. The RNC in Milwaukee is 7 days away, and we've got you covered with everything you need to know. This is Decision Wisconsin, presented by Pasternak and Zergabel. We are your central hub for all things RNC. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Chance for showers earlier this evening will go away and ultimately be cloudy tonight with a low of 66, mostly cloudy on Tuesday and a high of 80, 78 degrees in Milwaukee at 101. From the WTMJ breaking newsroom, child pornography charges coming for a custodian from the Racine Unified School District. 27-year-old Nicholas Wotnowski of Caledonia admitted to downloading, possessing, and distributing child pornography. Racine County Sheriff's Office investigators found more than 44,000 illegal images on Wotnowski's possession. He's currently being held in the Racine County Jail on over a $937,000 cash bail, and charges are pending. A crash into a tree leads to a car bursting into flames on Milwaukee's north side near 60th and Calumet. TMJ4's Sydney Orr explains.
Right now, there's just a ton of debris scattered along the street here, and the smell of smoke in the air. It looks as if it kind of ran into that tree. The front end totally just caved in. Police are on the scene right now. Not too much information as to what led up to this crash, how many people were involved, anyone inside the vehicle who was driving. We're still working to learn more of that information.
Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office says they have not been called to the scene. Well, we are 1 week away from the RNC in Milwaukee. What remains unclear is how and where event protesters will gather and potentially march. Director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, tells ABC News.
The Secret Service, as well as Milwaukee Police Department and Chicago Police Department, obviously respect the right for everybody to be able to express their First Amendment rights. Where we have concerns is if those potential demonstrations turn violent, and then appropriate action would be taken.
Despite multiple protest sites being made available during the convention, the American Civil Liberties Union of Wisconsin has filed a lawsuit against the city of Milwaukee concerning where and when protesters can assemble. One of the nation's largest French-themed celebration kicks off on Thursday. It's Bastille Days at Cathedral Square Park. Executive Director of Alliance Francaise, Anne LaPlay, says they're bringing back all the favorites this year.
The 5K run on Thursday night, the Eiffel Tower, and of course the wonderful beignets. There's fantastic food. There'll be over 25 food vendors and the entertainment on 5 stages during the whole 4 days.
LaPlay recommends using public transportation and planning ahead. Parking could be challenging as visitors for the RNC begin to arrive. Time for a WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. The Dow currently down about 51 points at 39,324. S&P 500 up about 1.5 points at 55.69. And the NASDAQ also up today about 33 points at 18,386. Get an honest opinion of where you are financially and where you're headed. Work with a fee-only fiduciary and visit annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Signing Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:03.
The new fractured boulders we now have in stock are really nice. They're squarer and more rectangular in shape, and they're great for building dry-laid retaining walls. They're much easier to deal with, lock together nicely, and you get less gaps. No wet mortar needed. And we've stocked a multitude of colors. You can use them as an accent item to add character to your dry river or creek beds, too. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. Our organic mulch is comprised of all trees. Most mulch is made from ground-up pallets, and you don't know what might have been spilled on those pallets. Could be chemicals or who knows what. But not our mulch, we're recycling trees. Many species of hardwoods. Cedar, hemlock, light brown, dark brown, mocha, black, red, gold, and caramel. 7 colors to choose from means a mulch to match any exterior. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Inflation is real, but not at the family-owned Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. This is new. Every Monday, when you buy 1 pizza, you get a second pizza free. Buy 5 pizzas, get 5 free. Buy 10, get 10 free pizzas. Coaches and teachers, bring your team or school club. Your players will love the pizza and that world-class game room. It's safe. It's super affordable. It's great team bonding. Bring in pizza today for your loyal employees and clients. They'll remember you, and a great way to start the week is your second pizza is always free. Don't cook and clean today. Mondays are tough enough. Enjoy the free pizza at the Mine Shaft. I love the pizza. Your kids and grandkids will love that huge game room. Order now, pick up your pizza shortly, or dine in. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and just off the interstate in Oshkosh. Buy one pizza today, get one free for an easy Monday. And desserts, buy one, get one free. Just walk on in. MineShaftRestaurant.com. It's the amazing Mine Shaft.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The first-placed Brewers return home for a 6-game homestand. It begins Tuesday night against the Pirates. Christian Yelich and William Contreras will represent the Brewers at this year's All-Star Game. The Bucks begin Summer League play in Las Vegas July 13th, and Giannis will lead the Greek national team in the Olympics after his team qualified Sunday with a win over Croatia. Taking a look at your roads with the WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic update. We've got pretty normal travel times throughout the system. A couple notable exceptions. 43 southbound Brown Deer to downtown. That's going to cost you about 4 minutes through the construction zone. Same deal, 894 westbound Mitchell to the Hale. That's about a 3-minute delay. You're tapping on the brakes. Things tend to open up once you get beyond 76th Street.
Traffic is sponsored by Hall Mazda Milwaukee. Visit hallmazdamilwaukee.com.
While you're navigating the roads as quickly and safely as possible, if you see something we should know about, call the WTMJ Hall Volkswagen Traffic Tip Line. 414-238-9329.
Some hit and miss showers expected today. Don't cancel any plans. A high of 82. Those storm chances end tonight with a low of 66. Mostly cloudy on Tuesday with a high of 80. Cloudy with a chance of rain on Wednesday with a high of 76. 78 and sunny in Madison. 72 and sunny in Green Bay. 80 and partly cloudy in Waukesha. 82 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Siding Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:07.
65,498 square miles. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. This is Spanning the State, and here are your hosts, Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
Good afternoon. Coming up today, artificial intelligence is here, and it's evolving quickly. So will it take our jobs, or is there an opportunity for AI to help with all of the labor shortages we're having? Well, nurses at UW Health have stepped up to shape how AI can help patients, nursing, and healthcare industry as a whole with a pilot AI program that drafts responses to patients' messages in MyChart. So we're going to hear more about the impact that program is having up at 1:35.
And in the second hour, of course, we will spin the state. We're going to go to Manawa, Milwaukee, Cudahy, and Knowlton. Then a disturbing statistic as far as Wisconsin and banned books. And we will talk about disabled victims' rights, possibly losing some funding. So a lot of stuff going on today.
Absolutely. But first, how about that Biden interview? Just prime time Friday night in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin, it was he did his campaign stop outside the middle school. Then he went in and sat down with George Stephanopoulos. I watched it Friday because I have no life. And then I watched it again Sunday morning because I was like, I have to make sure I've seen enough of this.
Absolutely. So President Biden gave arguably the most important TV interview of his career. He spoke to George Stephanopoulos on ABC News, and it was a 22-minute interview that was aired with it was pre-recorded, but it was no cuts and no edits. And I guess the question is, did you watch? Because a lot less people watched that than they did the debate.
Well, I'm sure they planned on that, don't you think? We you know how it works. We talked about Friday news dumps on Friday when we were at Summerfest. Supreme Court letting things out on Friday before, not only over a holiday weekend, but a weekend anyway. Now this one had to be as soon as possible, but could it have
been
Monday?
Sooner? Maybe, because it was about a sixth of the amount of people. So it was 50 million for the debate, and it was about 8 million people for the interview. And I guess, how are you feeling, Brian?
Well, I'm not feeling much different than before. I came away thinking, okay, yes, he's old. That's obvious. He did exponentially better in this interview than he did at the debate. they keep harping on it was a bad episode. He was exhausted. He had a cold. He had this. He prepared differently. He was distracted. And now the president did keep saying, "Okay, I'm not blaming this, but this is why it happened." I think George spent way too much time during this interview talking about age and that night, and not saying, "Okay, if you're telling us that you're competent enough to serve a second term, these are things that are perceived as weaknesses in your first term. How do you intend on fixing them or improving on them in the second term?" Even if one question like that to show the president thinking on his feet, because this was
about
unscripted,
policy.
about policy. Show us that you don't just tell me you have a grasp on everything. And I believe he still has a grasp on a lot of stuff. But show us, So it was good. He sounded stronger. I think all politicians are a little delusional and have visions of grandeur. I think that came across, too, when he was, who else could do this and this and this? I'm like,
I think the exact quote is, I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
Yes. And I'm like, well, that might not be true. And when he was like, oh, no, I won't drop out unless the Lord Almighty comes down and tells me to. I'm like, yeah, that part's not going to happen either. So,
and I think
he did make a good point, though, about polls, because, polls are easily manipulated for whoever's poll they are.
Yeah.
So, there have been all kinds of numbers coming out, different polls, some polls showing
I don't think it's so much manipulation. I think it's that the science behind polling is harder with the evolution of communication.
Right. Well,
and that the ability to poll young people who don't answer their phone. From their parents, let alone an unknown number, is hard to gauge and get a full diagnostic on the general population. And so
I guess manipulated would have been.
Yeah, I don't think
word.
that's. I think there's internal polling that can sometimes be push polls and everything like that. But I think he's, at least the way he's talking, and I get it to a certain extent. The campaign, the White House, he's running until he's not.
Sure,
they have to sound strong and confident that this is happening until they're not. Right. And so, but at least the way he's talking, I feel like he is poo-pooing the concerns that a lot of people have, including elected officials who are slowly more and more accumulation of elected Democrats who are saying, I don't think he should run.
And that did, that came across too. It's like, well, you're kind of avoiding some reality, which is, but again, is that age or is that just, I'm the most powerful man in the world and I don't have to pay attention to that. He sounded better. He sounded really strong at the rally. We're going to hear a little clip from the rally when we come back, and we'll get into this. And then you and I are in the media, which I find, always weird to say about myself. And I'm very upset with our industry about how this whole thing is being covered. So we'll get to that and so much more. It's Spanning the State.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me as we count down to the RNC in Milwaukee. We'll talk to the biggest names across the political landscape.
The idea of having the convention here is to advertise the city of Milwaukee. And it's not good advertising for the city of Milwaukee if they're throwing Molotov cocktails and overturning cop cars.
Full podcast available on WTMJ.com or text RNC to the Old National Bank talk and text line and get a link sent directly to you.
Decision Wisconsin 2024 coverage is presented by Pasternak and Zergabel.
For your next exterior remodeling project, we know you're not asking a lot from us. You want the right products for your situation, you want a few different financing options that can make your project affordable, and you want us to do a good job with minimal disruption to your life. And this one's important. You want a warranty that matters. And we know that checking every box makes all the difference. You might be surprised at how many moving parts go into it, but we have just the right people in all the right places to pull that off every day and make it look easy. The company we have took us 21 years to build. It's an awesome place to work because we never stop improving it, and we think we can do this work so well that we can actually change the reputation of exterior remodelers long term. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Ask about our finance options.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
You probably also noticed a lot of discussion about my age. I know I look 40.
Yes, he says he looks 40. I don't know. It's Spanning the State. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristen Bry, and we are debriefing Biden's interview with George Stephanopoulos that happened in Wisconsin on Friday, aired Friday night. And you have specific feelings about how the media has been covering this since the debate.
I do. And first, that little clip was from the event outside the middle school, right before he did George. Now, I know that was scripted and he had his teleprompter for his speeches, but he sounded strong during that. Then he sounded much stronger during the interview. But here's my problem with the way everybody in the media is covering this. There's one story now. It's his age. And that's not, while it's important, and yes, there are legit concerns, that's not the only story. I mentioned before, George could have asked him about some policy things for his plans for the next term, if he were to get it. Hey, these are concerns that people have about, now, prices are going up. People can't afford things. What would you do in your second term to try to change that? That's a legit question. But are you going to step down? Because Nancy Pelosi says maybe you need to step down.
Well, it was also only a 22-minute interview.
Right.
And whether that was negotiated ahead of time, I don't know what the parameters were of why was it only 22 minutes. So, you can't ask everything. But
right.
I think that is the thing that are on. And this is one of those things where it's, as the American public, do we get the media that we deserve? Because I don't know about you, but I work at, one of my other jobs is I work at Journal Sentinel,
right.
And there is a little chicken or the egg. Do you write the story that you want to write, or do you watch what trends and write follow-up story on the stories that are trending? And there is something as far as the media being a commercial business, and where clicks and what people are interested in can drive the news cycle. And so who's leading the way? Is it what's popular, or is it what's important?
Are we giving ourselves the chance to find that out? If we as the media are not covering any of the other stories that came out last week,
I think it's a far cry to say that none of the other stories were covered.
Not as much as the age. Come on. The age story is the story. So
you think if you go to New York Times homepage right now, that's the only stories that are on the homepage?
It was their front page with the that he should drop out.
Front page is different than the only story they're covering.
No, but how many people are reading the New York Times that aren't knee deep in the news like us? There's a lot stories. A lot of those stories got one cycle.
Okay,
and then they were dropped. The Supreme Court basically saying you can bribe us after we've given you a decision was barely glossed over by most outlets that I both read and that I watched. You did an op-ed on it just a couple weeks ago about how
the Horrible City thing?
Yeah, about the Horrible City. It's the same kind of thing. Horrible City took up that news cycle and blocked out a lot of the big stories. Were there blurbs about them here and there? Were they mentioned that night in the headlines? Sure they were, but we didn't focus on them. And you were absolutely right when you did that op-ed. It's the same kind of thing that I'm saying now, except this story, the story isn't going to go away. He's not getting any younger. He's still old. And you said it before, he's in till he's not in.
Yeah.
So all the hand-wringing isn't going to make a difference. All the polling that people are, depending on which poll you believe, he's dropped precariously since the debate. There's other polls that say he's up in certain places since the debate. So maybe we do get what we deserve.
But I also think it's because there also is continuing to be breaking news of leaks from different Democratic operatives leaking to their sources as far as the backdoor conversations that are being had, or another elected official coming out and saying, I would think that he should sit down. Because now down ballot polling is coming out. Of course. And there is, Tammy Baldwin is distancing herself
100%.
as much as she can, right? And so there is congressmen that are worried about being reelected, that are worried about him being the top of the ticket. And so I think part of the reason why it keeps staying in the news cycle is partially because it's on top of everyone's mind.
Sure.
I'm sure some of it has to do with the fact that that's what people are reading and wanting to get the up-to-date story. But it also is because I think there keeps being new speculation about what's going to happen.
Right. Well, that all makes sense. I just wish some of the spotlight was on some other stories. And maybe that's just me. It's like, I get it. I'm not downplaying this at all because I'm as worried as anybody else.
Well, and it helps the fact that Trump has been silent.
Yes.
Trump has been, we did see right before the show started that the RNC has adopted a platform.
So we'll get to that.
But as far as control over his own message,
except for his 4th of July screed.
But for the most part,
for the most part, yes.
And there was a leaked video of him on a golf course talking about the debate. But for the most part, he has not been front and center with any opportunity to put his foot in his mouth.
I'm surprised that his aides and his campaign were able to do that, because that's not the Trump we're used to.
Yeah.
The Trump we're used to is going to be, he would have been crowing about this.
But he's going to be here next week.
He is going to be here. Maybe he'll walk by. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we can grab him on Radio Row. All right, let's take a quick break. And then, Krista, I can't wait for your dramatic reading of the Republican platform for the RNC. Maybe not dramatic, maybe sorrow. I don't know what kind of reading interpretation you will do. But we'll get to that after this. It's Spanning the State.
It's like playing baseball in the house.
Mom, Dad broke the window.
Without the risk of...
Again.
That. Every Thursday at 8:40, play virtual baseball on Wisconsin's Morning News. Step up to the virtual plate and test your mettle against the best.
Swing and a drive to right.
It's virtual baseball, presented by Siding Unlimited. Only played here on WTMJ.
You're never going to believe it.
Why would I not believe it?
John Hoyman has a big idea. Big!
John, our Chief Financial Officer?
Hi, Rick. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Monica.
Hi, John.
Hey, John.
Are we in trouble?
No. Everything is great.
Tell them your idea.
18-month special financing for all purchases made in July.
Subject to approved credit, right?
Of course. Just ask an associate for details.
That's a year and a half to pay. Can we do that?
We're an employee-owned company. We can do anything we want.
Sarah, are you nervous we can't afford it?
Sarah, this is John, our CFO. If John says we can afford it, we can afford it.
Do you like the idea of 18-month special financing?
I like it.
I like it.
But only for purchases made in July, right?
Right.
I like it.
18-month special financing for all purchases made in July. Only at Kessler's. For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
What's great about America? Football, free refills, and pizza with cheese baked into the crust. You know what else is great about America? Being who we want to be, living where we want to live, and choosing who we want to do business with. That, my friend, is sweet, sweet freedom. So, Mr. Holland's Home Services is celebrating the month of the free with a deal that you can only get in the good old USA. Through July, purchase a fully warranted, complete comfort system, and Mr. Holland's crew will install a brand new water heater at no extra cost. In other words, it's free. And speaking of free, Mr. Holland's Home Services is offering interest-free financing with approved credit. Declare your independence from oppressive heat and frigid showers. Call today to secure your free water heater with the purchase of a new comfort system. 866-992-1717. Or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If you're ready to party like it's 1776, we can help.
Feeling bullied by your bank?
It's not a hidden fee, it's a surprise fee. Surprise!
Like they're just making things harder.
That's not my department. I got to transfer you.
Or like they don't even know you?
That sounds like a you problem.
At Wintrust, we take a different approach. Whether you need banking solutions, a new home, or help planning your financial future, we've got local experts ready to lend a hand.
Wintrust.
Start banking where you matter at wintrust.com/bullyfree. Wintrust. Different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I believe it's time for me to fly.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristen Bry.
I'm Brian Noonan, and as you know, the RNC starts here in Milwaukee next Monday. And Kristen, just before the show started, you said the RNC released their platform.
Well, it was interesting. So we had an event this morning. WTMJ hosted our RNC Impact 2024 panel this morning. It was John McCure, Vince Petrano, Steve Scafidi, and I. And one of the questions is, what are the big stories that are coming out? And one of the things I said is, in 2020, there was no platform. The Republicans didn't have a platform that they were running on. I knew that they were crafting one for this time around. And literally right before the show, our show started, the RNC Platform Committee adopted the 2024 official Republican Party platform. And I don't know how important platforms are. Like how much the average voter and not politicos invest in what they're running on.
Well, don't we already kind of know it as a voter? You know what your party stands for. You know what your candidate stands for. I've never really paid attention to the official platforms because I've listened to the candidates talk all the way to the convention. So if I don't know what they're going, if I don't know what they stand for, I haven't been paying attention.
Well, and I don't know the promise of a platform and how much, because one thing to say that it's like campaign promises in general, right? There's one thing is like, this is what I believe in, this is what I would like to do, how I'm going to do it, and the details of how I'm going to do it, we don't have to worry about.
Yeah,
don't worry about that.
Don't
worry about that part.
With that. That's crazy.
And I think I saw some meme that was for Joe Biden that said something along the lines of, if I'm reelected, I'm going to bring back Roe versus Wade. And I think there was a response underneath. It's like, bro, aren't you president now? Like, what do you mean if you're reelected? If you could do that, why wouldn't you do that now? And so there's a little bit on both sides of promises versus execution.
Well, one thing that struck me on this profile is it's devoid of any real political speak. It's worded like it's aimed right at the base, right at the regular Joe voter. Yeah,
is one word probably.
That is a good one.
Should we just run through the 20 promises?
The planks. These are the planks of the platform.
So the first one is seal the border and stop the migrant invasion.
Number 2, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history.
Number 3, end inflation and make America affordable again.
Oh, all right.
New slogan.
Yeah. 4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world, by far, !
Number 5, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower.
Wow. 6, large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Now that would be a very popular thing if
for the service industry. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
Number 7, defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms.
I'm just going to read these the way they're written and not comment. Number 8, prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and in the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America.
Iron Dome, okay.
Let's just read
Number
them.
9, end the weaponization of government against the American people.
Stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders.
Number 11, rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again.
Does that mean from scratch? Anyway. Strengthen and modernize our military, making it, without question, the strongest and most powerful in the world.
Number 13, keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency.
14, fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts including no changes to the retirement age.
That's an important thing that they highlighted.
It is, yeah. We'll see.
Number 15, cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations.
Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content to our children.
We're not going to be able to finish the last 4, but this is also posted. It is on the GOP's website.
GOP.com.
So if you would like to see the last 4, you can go check those out. And ABC News and local headlines are next.
ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. The White House visitor logs show a Parkinson's specialist visited the White House 8 times between July of last year and March of this year. One of those visits was with the president's personal physician. President Biden today pushing back against those who want him to leave the race.
I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024.
The president on MSNBC's Morning Joe program. The mayor of Houston is telling people to stay at home and shelter in place as Tropical Storm Beryl bears down on the city. Beryl roared ashore early this morning along the Texas coast, a Category 1 hurricane. Talks have resumed in hopes of reaching a temporary humanitarian ceasefire between Hamas and Israel that could stop the airstrikes temporarily and bring more hostages home. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:31. I'm Greg Matzik. Ascension is raising room and board rates at their Southeast Wisconsin hospital locations. The organization cited rising expenses in a notice regarding the price increases that took effect July 1st. Ascension says the increases were necessary to offset bad debt and charity care, as well as cost increases and reduced reimbursement from government programs. Well, even bus routes will be affected by the upcoming RNC. The Milwaukee County Transit System reminds riders to expect delays because of increased convention traffic. Starting next Monday, July 15th through Friday, July 19th, MCTS will only serve existing bus stops located outside of the vehicle screening and pedestrian restricted security perimeter. And for safety reasons, riders are asked to go on an existing bus stop since there will be no temporary stops. Only those stops outside the detour zone will be served. Full route and detour information can be found on our website at WTMJ.com. Wisconsin's BioHealth Tech Hub receiving nearly $50 million in federal grant funds after a report identified Wisconsin as a top destination for a regional tech hub. The Milwaukee Business Journal's Rich Kirshen says the grant will propel the development of new technologies in personalized medicine. The Biotech Hub is predicting significant economic impact, including 11,000 new jobs over the course of 10 years. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed results on the indices today. The Dow currently down about 49 points at 39,327. The NASDAQ is up about 31 points at 18,383. And the S&P 500 is up about 2 points today at 5569. Financial planning at every level. Visit AnnexWealth.com. It's Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Annex Wealth. Know the difference. Time for a WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic update. Problem spot here, 4394 northbound, just beyond the ramp from Holt Avenue. The left shoulder is blocked due to a crash. That was as about a 1:15 or so. Still some delays working through that area, so be mindful of that as you're driving up from the south toward downtown Milwaukee. Meanwhile, 43 southbound from Brown Deer to downtown, your typical 3 to 4 minute delay due to the construction zone. 894 westbound through the Hale, that'll cost you about a 3-minute delay. Things tend to clear up at about 76th Street. Overall, pretty good day today. Some hit and miss showers and a high of 82. Evening storm chances end tonight with a low of 66. Cloudy for your Tuesday with a high of 80 degrees. Right now it is 78 in Madison, 73 in Green Bay, 80 in Waukesha, and 82 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:34.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Sleep apnea is a serious condition. And the worst part about it is, because it affects you while you're sleeping, you don't know what this condition is doing to you.
And it was scary because I found out that I was waking up 145 times an hour. 145 times. I was scared. I wasn't getting the sleep I needed.
And that's the thing. Someone like John wakes up after thinking he's slept all night, and he's been feeling run down for years, and finally finds out something really is wrong. This is why, for us, solving sleep apnea problems is so gratifying, because we really are changing lives.
I've had more energy. I'm getting better sleep. I've been told from my wife I don't snore. But honestly, it changed my life.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. Solving your breathing triangle problems means a better quality of life, and you deserve that.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
Technologic. 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 Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, crash it, change it, mail, upgrade it.
Wow. Got some techno house music pumping in here. It's spanning the state. I'm now confused, and I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Kristen Bry. I like this song. Good choice, Rhea. I want to dance. All right. Well, before we jump into artificial intelligence, will it hurt us or save us or any of those things? If we finished out our last segment before the news, getting, what do we get, to 16 out of the 20?
Yeah, we got almost all of them.
Points on the Republicans' platform. So if you would like to read the whole list, we just set it up. If you text platform to 855-616-1620, we will text you the link so you can read it for yourself. There's more than just those 20 bulleted items as far as the platform itself. But if you would like to read it yourself, again, text platform, one word, to 855-616-1620.
And that's right from the GOP's mouth.
Yes. So we talk a lot about labor shortages.
Yes, we do.
On this show, and different industries in Wisconsin that are struggling to find bodies and qualified people to do different jobs. And I think it's an interesting conversation because when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's everywhere. It continues to evolve across industries. Do you have strong feelings? Have you played with ChatGPT?
Well, for our game on Friday, I used ChatGPT to come up with some fake band names, and so I've used it. I understand it's the future. I'm still not 100% clear on everything it could do, and I think even the people who invented it are not 100% clear on that. So I don't feel that far behind. There is a little hesitancy sometimes when I look at different things that it may replace, and that was in one of your notes. This made a lot of sense. In the big SAG-AFTRA strike last year, that was the big part of the strikes last year,
right?
Because writers do not want just AI writing scripts, which makes sense, and I don't either, because I'm sure it will be perfected, but you can kind of tell, right? You've read some things that are written by AI, and there's always a little something off because it's more formulaic. It doesn't really flow like if you're writing a script, you have to know conversation, and a computer
character development.
Yes, it's not going to fully grasp it. It gets the tenets of it, but it doesn't know the whole thing.
So I feel like there's will AI, and obviously it's going to be a more nuanced gray area, but basically, will AI replace jobs, or is there the opportunity for AI to supplement jobs and take workloads off of the mundane, repetitive tasks, so that in these industries that have labor shortages, it's not, you don't feel it as much. It's not as hurt, like it isn't causing as much harm. Because I think there is opportunity. Like, what part of your job do you wish you could automate? Obviously not this part, right?
Not
like
this
we don't
part.
want robots to come on and do the radio.
I don't know if anybody wants robots to do it. Well, who knows? I shouldn't say that. There's probably people right now going, a couple robots might not be so bad. I don't know, maybe maybe finding some things for prep.
Okay.
Pulling clips, things like that. That would ease up some time. But really,
scheduling?
Yeah, but I don't really schedule anything.
All right.
You guys tell me where to be and I show up. That's kind of how it works. I'm sure for me, I don't see in my jobs like this, doing stand-up and stuff, I don't think at this point AI could do what I could do, but I can see if you're in, I don't know, numbers or data or things like that, obviously AI can help. And I know AI helps my producer for my podcast do a lot of editing and tagging and geotagging and things like that. So, but I don't really do that.
So you're fine.
No, I'm Soylent Green. I know I'm just going to be, but the things that I do well can't be replicated by a machine. My mundane, now they'll never be able to get what's in my brain and in my soul and my inflection. They'll be able to get like any technical stuff I do. Of course, they can get rid of that, like no problem. But there's still some things will still need humanity.
Yeah.
To run.
Well, and that is a great segue because as the healthcare industry continues to struggle with staffing, which we've covered often on this show, UW Health is looking into artificial intelligence to help nurses respond to patient messages more efficiently. So that's why I say when we're talking about emailing, when we're talking about some of the stuff that it feels like it has to get done. But, maybe AI can write that first draft and then the humanity can come in and make sure that it has that human touch. So there are more than 75 nurses within the health system that are piloting a generative AI tool that drafts a response to patient messages in MyChart, which is the Epic Systems electronic health record system. So it's a part of a project that was launched by Epic and Microsoft last spring. And so when we come back, we're going to talk to Rudy Jackson, who is Chief Nurse Executive for UW Health, about how the program works and the impact that it's happening, and maybe what's the next step. What else could be automated by AI for nurses?
Yes, and maybe your nurse has already been using AI and you don't know it.
You don't even know it.
Machine.
All right, all of that when we come back. This is Spanning the State.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, with a tip for today's home shoppers. You already know inventory is low and both competition and home prices are high. That's probably why you should not go with your bank or your real estate agent's mortgage pal for your pre-approval. You see, the banks have lots of branches, fancy headquarters, vice presidents and assistant vice presidents, and the loan officers who get referrals from real estate agents, they're typically very highly paid. Who do you think pays for all that extra expense? Turns out it's you. High overhead and high compensation naturally translate into higher closing costs. At Accunet, our extreme efficiency and low overhead mean your closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks and other lenders for exactly the same rate. Don't light your hard-earned money on fire. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval today by clicking on the blue button and put the money you'll save in closing costs towards something for your new home. That's ACCUNET.com.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life. Brands from Carhartt to Milwaukee to Purina to Goodyear to Rapala to Levi's and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead. It's swimming season, or for some of us, golfing or gardening season, but you're not out there enjoying your favorite hobby because you're sidelined from arthritic joint pain. Bone-on-bone pain in your knees or hips, maybe? Here's what you do. You call QC Kinetics. There are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you the lasting relief you need. QC Kinetics is helping patients all the time. I'm talking cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. It's not sorcery, it's technology, and you don't need surgery. Call QC Kinetics. The local professionals at QC Kinetics in Greenfield and in Mequon are ready to help you. Here's the phone number, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Stay and play in Lake Geneva, the Midwest's premier golf destination. With 10 challenging courses for all abilities and skill levels, breathtaking views, crystal clear lakes, and rolling fairways. Enjoy an all-inclusive golf getaway with luxurious lodging, distinctive dining, and a relaxing spa. Plan a group golf outing, a corporate event, or a weekend getaway with friends or family. For course information and more, go to visitlakegeneva.com. Lake Geneva. It's always been the place for legendary golf.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roboto. It's Spanning the State. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I'm Kristen Bry. And artificial intelligence is everywhere, and it continues to evolve across industries. So how can it help in industries where we have labor shortages? Nurses at UW Health have stepped up to shape how AI can help them, their patients, and the healthcare industry as a whole with a new pilot AI program that drafts responses to patients' messages in MyChart. So here to discuss how it works and what impact the AI tool is making is Rudy Jackson, Chief Nurse Executive for UW Health. Welcome to the show, Rudy.
Thank you, Christian and Brian. Thank you so much for having me here.
Sure.
So how does it work?
Well, the tool works basically as you described. It allows our nurses to get ahead of the documentation that's needed when connecting with patients by allowing the system to create its own narrative that the nurses can come back in and either edit or submit, depending on what's been added by the system. So it really has allowed our nurses to actually decrease the amount of time that they're having to spend in front of the computer and increases the amount of time that they're spending with patients.
So, Rudy, it doesn't send it out automatically. It writes a draft, and then the nurse will still go in and go, okay, yep, that looks good. And then the nurse is the one actually sending it?
Absolutely. You know, I've heard a lot of negative things about AI in healthcare, but the reality is it's so incredibly important for us to leverage the technology, but we can't lose sight of the fact that nursing intuition and nursing critical judgment is going to be what is not going to be able to get replaced by the system. So the system being able to create that first draft allows the nurse to go in there and edit something as opposed to having to do it themselves.
How accurate is it? Like, how much editing are the nurses needing to do versus being like, oh, wow, they really nailed it?
Very little from the data that I've been receiving. Very little edits are actually being made to the system. The system is actually pretty accurate in terms of what it's submitting and what the recommendations are on how to communicate the information back to the patient.
And Rudy, I think you made a good point that there's certain things about nursing, the intuition and the expertise that AI will never get to replicate. So that being said, are the nurses really excited about this kind of program because it's saving time? Is there any apprehension that says, well, if they can do this, maybe they can do the next thing?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brian. And to be honest with you, the computers will never duplicate the healing power of a nurse's hand. Being able to hold somebody's hand at a critical time in their lives, that is not something the computer is ever going to be able to do. To show the empathy that nurses show is not something that we can program into a system. That being said, our nurses are incredibly excited about this technology because they're on the forefront of developing the technology and the processes. So when we talk about these pilots, we are very fortunate to be able to partner with our electronic medical record, Epic software, and really start to develop what the future of AI is going to look like. And we're actually embedding direct care nurses in the development of these processes. So it's not me as an administrator pushing this technology out on the staff. It's really the staff developing the technology that's going to ultimately help them support the patients that we get in our systems.
So far, it's 75, or at least what I've read, and maybe it's changed since this article was written, but 75 nurses are using the program. It's assisted in creating more than 3,000 messages across 30 different departments. So far, is the pilot a success? And once it's deemed a success, what does it look like to roll out across the UW healthcare system?
Yeah, thanks, Christian. You're absolutely right. I mean, we 100% consider it a success. Just look at the numbers that you just said again. I mean, that was 3,000 messages that nurses were having to do on their own to type up and then get sent through the system. That's eliminating a significant amount of time for our nurses, which is giving them more time to be able to give back to the patient. I think when you look at the future of this technology, and again, you know, the issues that we're facing with nursing shortages are pretty vast and are pretty significant. The state of Wisconsin alone is going to be short 40,000 registered nurses in the next several years. We're one of the states with the lowest number of licensed practical nurses available to work. And so we have some major concerns, and we've got to leverage the technology to help support the nurses by removing some of the administrative barriers or obstacles that they're dealing with on a daily basis. And so the future of this is going to go beyond the 75. We're really looking at rolling this out to all of our ambulatory clinics, but we're also piloting some work with Epic to talk about what we're doing in the inpatient side. How do those nurses take an assessment that they've completed and allow the system to generate the chart so that the nurse can go in and verify what's been put in there as opposed to having to create it. One of the examples I give the staff is that if you've ever had to edit a document, it's much easier to edit a document than it is than having to try and create the document.
The blank page that just stares at you. Trust me, I know it well.
No, thank you. So things seem to be going well with the pilot program. Rudy, do you see other parts of the healthcare industry where this kind of technology will blend in and acclimate to them, and instead of trying to, you know, there's always going to be the human need?
Yeah. I mean, I think artificial intelligence is a very broad term, right? I mean, there's ways for the system to generate AI, words on a paper that allow us to eliminate some time. But there's other opportunities within the healthcare industry that is where we can leverage the technology to help support some decisions that we make. A perfect example is around how do we staff our units. Right now, we are piloting a program right now that allows us to use the technology to develop some metrics based off of AI to then determine whether or not we're going to add these 3 or 4 patients to this nurse, or if we're going to spread it out because their level of work that is required of that nurse is too high, and we want to lower that down so that we can balance their shift. I mean, it's things like that are really going to start to open up the doors for nursing and allow us to not only have a better quality outcome for our patients, but also be able to support our novice nurses and not burn them out by getting them off of orientation and then giving them a full, heavy patient assignment when they're not ready. So there's a lot of opportunities for this technology within healthcare. We are really excited to be on the forefront of all of this.
Well, I always like the optimistic side of AI versus the doom and gloom of, oh my God, it's going to ruin everything. So Rudy Jackson is the Chief Nurse Executive for UW Health. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure talking to you both.
Thanks, Rudy.
All right, Citing Unlimited News Time, 1:52. This is Spanning the State.
The National Weather Service has issued a tornado watch.
Go to a place of safety now. A tornado warning is in effect.
The danger in the thunderstorm alone is definitely there. We have wind gusts where it's 50 miles per hour and lots of lightning in this storm system.
Keeping you updated on the weather so you can keep you and your family safe with severe weather coverage on WTMJ. Sponsored by Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
At Kendor Marine, we have everything you need but the water. For over 50 years, boaters have found that to be true. Because when they've needed that old part they thought they'd never find, guess what? They found it here, along with everything else you need to keep your boat out there on the water. This is Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey boaters!
Well, if you have an old boat, new boat, or in between, then Kendor Marine is a great place for you to shop. Because not only do we have all the parts and accessories you need for almost any kind of boat, we also have the expert advice that just about any boater is one day gonna need. I'm Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Annex Wealth Management, investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Forget commission sales pitches and financial products you don't need. Know the difference. Annex provides elite, comprehensive financial planning customized to who you are and what you need. AnnexWealth.com.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for two, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 10 to 12 ounce or 10 to 12 count selected varieties, Folgers or Dunkin' Donuts K-Cups or bag coffee, $5.99. 12 count 0.5 liter bottles, Ice Mountain Spring Water, 2 for $7. 3 to 6 count selected varieties, Snickers or Dove ice cream novelties, $3.99. 4-pack selected varieties, Dannon 2 Good Greek Yogurt, 2 for $8.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 24th.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Spanning the state, I'm Brian Noonan.
And I'm Kristen Bry. And from the 414, feels like the Hallmark Channel has been using artificial intelligence for years to write Hallmark Christmas movies.
I never watch them, but I read sometimes the descriptions, and I'm like, it's all the same movie, right?
My favorite, quickly before we have to go to news, my first gift to my husband, Mike, when we first started dating, because it was a pretty quick romance.
Okay.
And he's a big in the service industry and stuff. And so I took it was called Christmas Under the Stars.
Yeah.
I took that DVD cover and I had a friend like Photoshop our faces onto them. And so I titled it was a new movie called Christmas at the Bars. and I wrote a whole like synopsis, and like all of the like producers and screenwriters were all our friends and family. And it's one of the more creative Christmas presents I've ever had.
There you go.
All right. When we come back, we will spin the state.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
It's here on consignment from over 10,000 nationwide partners. From very high-end, distinctive furniture, unique antiques and original art, to tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. Premium home decor priced right at 25 to 40% off retail prices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Smart interior designers know that what they'll see here is going to be almost impossible to find anywhere else, especially at our consignment prices. Premium home decor that's gently loved and close to new. And what we carry can raise the wow factor of anyone's home decor. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Dr. Ryan Stefanchek. Board certified in sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation, Dr. Stefanchek specializes in non-operative treatment of the spine, chronic pain, all joints, all musculoskeletal problems, and more, emphasizing holistic care first, with a focus on diet, sleep, stress management, and social connections for a patient's well-being. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
We live the summer of 21.
The Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions.
Bucks in 6 from Bucks Plus Audio takes you back to the Bucks championship run in 2021.
Milwaukee, we did it, baby. We did it.
Today on Bucks in 6, the Bucks head back to the NBA Finals for the first time in 50 years.
The Milwaukee Bucks are going to the NBA Finals. Phoenix, here we come.
Find Bucks in 6 on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Gorgeous new roofs, showstopper siding, or classic brick and stonework. How about modern windows and regal doors that'll make your chin hit the floor? To a lot of people, having these things can really make them enjoy where they live. It makes them proud. but there's always one thing standing in the way. How do I make that happen? At Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, we have excellent financing options for most people in most situations. 12 months, no interest, no payments, and exceptional rates for long-term loans that will beat your bank with no additional fees or hidden costs. You can go to SemperfiRoofing.com to apply for your pre-approval today. We want to make any project affordable to almost any person, and we've gone out of our way to find partners that can help make it happen for you. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semperfi.
Ask about our finance options.
The Republican National Convention countdown is on. The RNC in Milwaukee is 7 days away, and we've got you covered with everything you need to know. This is Decision Wisconsin, presented by Pasternak and Zergabel. We are your central hub for all things RNC. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2 o'clock, it's 82 degrees in Milwaukee. Tonight, the storm chances come to an end. Mostly cloudy, a low of 66. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 80 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, we are 1 week away from the RNC in Milwaukee. What remains is unclear on how and where event protesters will gather and potentially march. Director of the Secret Service tells ABC News.
The Secret Service, as well as Milwaukee Police Department and Chicago Police Department, obviously respect the right for everybody to be able to express their First Amendment rights. Where we have concerns is if those potential demonstrations turn violent, and then appropriate action would be taken.
Despite multiple protest sites being made available during the convention, the American Civil Liberties Union of Wisconsin has filed a lawsuit against the city of Milwaukee concerning where and when protesters can assemble. Meanwhile, delegates of the Democratic Party could soon decide whether or not they fully support President Biden's bid for re-election. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Those individual people, those delegates, are going to fill out the form and decide whether they are in fact pledged to Joe Biden or whether they'll withhold their support for Biden. And that will be a key test of whether there is truly an existential crisis for the top of the ticket.
The president has vowed to stay in the race. Our lakefront fireworks may have been absent this Independence Day, but there's another light show celebration planned for Milwaukee Museum's 100th birthday.
Villa Terrace Art Museum has big plans this week for its centennial celebration. Executive Director Jamie Harvey Wilms says a drone light show will illuminate the lakefront Wednesday night.
It should be able to light up the entire lakefront with, I think it's 300 drones.
Plus, a ticketed glow-in-the-dark party at Villa Terrace.
There'll be a bar set up and I believe some food trucks. And then the drone show itself has been designed by Milwaukee artist Ray Chi. It's just going to light up the sky with themes of the Villa Terrace's 100 years, as well as a little bit of Milwaukee.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money and your WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 40, S&P 500 is about even, up 1. NASDAQ is up 32. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:03.
Each day there's a sliver of time when you can almost breathe freely. And you feel better when you can. But you know that eventually that sliver of time closes, along with your nose. It puts a damper on your day every day. So you pop a pill or you take a spray to try to get that relief back. But it's always short-lived. And all the while in your efforts to give yourself relief, you may be making your nasal breathing problems worse. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and a simple in-office procedure from Advent called balloon sinuplasty could be the fast and convenient answer to your breathing triangle problems. Advent has been a leader in this procedure, which can be hard to find elsewhere. It's simple, there's little to no downtime, and it really can be life-changing.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
The July sale on Norwalk Furniture is on now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 40% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options. From family-friendly to on-point designs, these fabrics are durable and fashionable, and our design service is free to help you put it all together. For better quality American-made upholstery, stop in today and save at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown. Get a better night's sleep and save money on a Milwaukee mattress. For over 70 years, our family has been making mattresses and selling them direct to your family. By cutting out distribution costs, you can save up to 50% and get a better night's sleep on a premium mattress. Go green with natural latex. Reduce tossing and turning at night by reducing pressure points on your body. This is one of our most popular mattresses. Stop in today and take a test rest at any of our Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown.
Time for a WTMJ sports update. The Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. First place Brew Crew returned home for a 6-game homestead. Beginning Tuesday night against the Pirates, Christian Yelich and William Contreras will represent Brewers at the All-Stars game. The Milwaukee Bucks begin play at the Las Vegas Summer League July 13th. Giannis will lead the Greek national team in the Olympics after qualifying Sunday with a win over Croatia. Taking a look at the roads near WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving, time-saver traffic. I-43-94 north, about a mile beyond the ramp from Holt Avenue. The left shoulder is blocked because of a bad crash, and there are major backups when I'm looking at 43-94 at Chase Avenue. Not good. And it's Gawker's Row on the other side. I-43 north, about 1.5 miles beyond the ramp from Port Washington. Expect lane closures because there's debris on the road. The stream is not available. I'm not able to see what is happening there.
Traffic is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores. Highway 100 and Layton Avenue in Greenfield. 23rd and Lincoln and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee. Great bargains and a great cause. You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, the storms come to an end. Mostly cloudy, a low of 66. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 80. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, a chance of rain. Barrel passes south, high of 76. Thursday, mostly sunny, isolated storm chance, a high of 80. Friday, mostly sunny, pick day, a high of 83 degrees. Right now in Madison, it's 79 degrees. In Waukesha, it's 81 degrees. In Milwaukee, it's 82 degrees. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:06.
It's time to take a spin around Wisconsin and find stories you might have missed. Here's Spinning the State on Spanning the State with Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
It's after the 2 o'clock news. That means it is time to spin the state. If you miss any of the stories or want more details, you can always text SPIN, S-P-I-N, to 855-616-1620. Big docket today. Let's spin it and see.
All right, let's find out where we're going first. Manawa. All right. Have you been paying attention that Wisconsin has been experiencing a lot of severe weather lately?
I've noticed it.
We got some rain.
I heard rumor of
We've been getting rain. And on Friday, up to 100 homes, including a nursing home, had to be evacuated after erosion caused part of the bank at the edge of the Manawa Mill Pond Dam failed, and it sent floodwaters down into the Little Wolf River. So mid-morning on Friday, Manawa got about 4 inches of heavy rain, and although the dam was deemed to be holding, erosion on the north side was observed. So gates were opened to relieve pressure and prevent that what Manawa Police Chief Jason Severson described as, quote, catastrophic failure. The flooding started in rural areas and then spread to people's homes on local roadways. Luckily, no injuries were reported.
That's good. I saw some of the pictures. Floods are terrifying.
I mean, aren't all natural disasters a little terrifying?
I don't. There's
Do you have
something
a hierarchy
about floods
of which ones you prefer to experience?
Well, I've had water in my basement, and I can only imagine if my entire house was full of water.
Or your car just floated away.
The car floated away. I've seen the aftermath of hurricane. I don't like any natural disasters, to answer your question. But floods Floods seem like they'd be more of a pain to clean up after. Unless everything was
I don't know. A
washed
tornado
away.
seems like a pain.
Yeah, but
I guess a fire, there's something to clean up because it's just gone.
Right, and a tornado kind of wipes it all away. You start from a clean slate, but the water, you got water stuff, and it's still there, and it's soaked, and it smells, and blah, blah. Anyway, all right, let's spin.
Milwaukee.
Speaking of rumors, Kristen, did you hear that the Republican National Convention is coming here next week? Yes.
What?
Yes, and part of the big finale at all the conventions is the balloon drops. Balloon drops are everywhere. New Year's Eve parties, sports championships, and, as always, a political convention. So it might seem easy. We've all blown up balloons. It might seem like an easy thing to arrange one of these balloon drops. But one man has cornered the market on RNC balloon drops. Treb Heining has been responsible for the balloon drop at Republican conventions since 1988. That's
a long time.
That's a long time to be blowing up balloons and putting them in netting. However, this is the first time he's been back to Milwaukee since he created a balloon display for the grand opening of the Grand Avenue Mall. Right,
where we sit right now.
That's right, in 1982. Maybe if we speak nicely, he'll recreate that and bring it to us. He told the Journal-Sentinel that political conventions are the most stressful events to work on, which surprised me because he said the Super Bowl is number 2 behind political conventions. He said, because, here's some of the, I see what you're
doing.
thinking.
I was wondering why.
Why would that be?
Yeah.
Because some campaigns want balloons to fall onto the stage. Some don't want balloons to fall onto the stage. The arenas have different wind patterns that they have to study, so when they drop the balloons, they know kind of where they're going to go. So Super Bowls, they just drop them. Nobody cares
no one
if
cares
they're on
where
the
they
field.
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's been to Fiserv Forum a number of times. He knows the building intimately, he said. 15 MPS students and their parents are going to help inflate more than 100,000 balloons. The sad part of this story is that one local balloon company is a little disappointed because Heining is a California-based businessman, and he got the big contract. Bridget's Bargain Balloons had hoped to get the contract after doing a 500 balloon drop for Democratic volunteers back in 2020. I know, but Bridget needs a more affluent-sounding name, I think, for a convention business. For just me, if I'm going to buy balloons for a party, I'm looking for Bargain Balloons. But I think the RNC wants, they don't want to feel
the hoity-toity balloon company.
Yeah, big, fancy, expensive balloon company. Oh, here's our check. So there you go. So the balloons are going to be big.
It's fascinating to me when you learn about super niche businesses. They're like, how did you get into this?
Right. And how'd you become like the Republicans' go-to convention balloonist? So I don't know.
All right. Let's see where we're going next.
Cudahy.
Cudahy. All right. Was Molly a Girl Scout?
She was.
All right.
She was.
So are you familiar with the Girl Scout motto of be prepared?
Which is strange because that's also the Boy Scout motto.
Oh, and it's also the villain song in The Lion King.
Be prepared. Wow.
A little different message there from Scar of The Lion King versus the Girl Scouts of being prepared. Anyways, 10-year-old Aspen Ossie of Cudahy exemplified being prepared by utilizing the life-saving skills she learned in Girl Scouts to save her grandmother's life. Aspen, when she had sat down with her grandmother for a snack, she noticed her grandmother was sweating, slurring her words, and slumping in her seat. So Aspen first got ice packs to try to cool her grandma down. But when her grandma stopped responding, Aspen called her mom, who called 911. So then Aspen was giving live updates to 911 through her mom while she was also keeping her grandfather calm. This is a 10-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And when paramedics arrived, she brought them to her grandmother. She then stayed with her grandma in the hospital until she was released. A news release from the Girl Scouts said this, quote, Aspen's quick reaction and calm bravery in the face of an emergency saved her grandmother from entering septic shock and organ failure while she dealt with severe dehydration and low blood pressure.
Wow.
So Aspen was awarded the Girl Scouts of the USA National Life-Saving Medal of Honor during a special ceremony at Camp Silverbrook in West Bend. Good job, Aspen.
Nicely done, Aspen. Nicely done. You know what that means? It means $10 instead of $5 from her grandma for her birthday. So
People better buy the most amount of Girl Scout cookies from Aspen.
Aspen should be raking it in on the thing. All right, we've got time for one more. Let's do it.
Knowlton.
I love a good, a good whiskey story, a good libation story. I also like a libation that summons up Wisconsin in a way no other libation can. This is that product.
Okay.
So, one of the byproducts of the cheese-making process, everybody loves. Deep-fried them, curds. We love the curds, but what happens with the whey? We don't know. Well, that's another byproduct that most of us don't think about. A small distillery located in a tiny town between Wausau and Stevens Point has thought about whey, and they have created what could be the most Wisconsin adult beverage ever. Knowlton House Distillery is using whey in its fermentation process to create award-winning vodka and gin. This is the brainchild of Heather Mullins, whose husband Luke operates Mullins Cheese in Knowlton, which claims to be the largest family-owned cheese-producing business in Wisconsin. So, there's a lot of science involved in the whey fermentation process. I don't understand it, but the Mullins assure folks that their spirits do not taste like cheese. She told the Green Bay Press Gazette that you can't taste the whey when enjoying 10 Head vodka or gin because it's transformed in the biochemical fermentation process of distilling alcohol that turns sugar into alcohol. So I don't need to think about the science. I could just enjoy some of the beverage.
I know the other way is popular as far as there's a good cheese you can get from Trader Joe's that either bourbon brined or Merlot. And so there's the other way I feel like I hear more of booze in cheese.
Right.
But less cheese in booze.
This is because there's a certain sort of yeast that is easier to use. So most distillers use this strain of yeast, but the whey has those yeast qualities in it and is able, again, I don't know all the science, but this is my cursory understanding of it. They can use the whey, which then cuts down on all their waste at the cheese factory, so they can use it and
right, I believe
do
you.
The chemistry list.
I'm not challenging that.
We'll have to get
no idea what I'm talking about.
We'll have to get some of that down here. See how whey fermented booze tastes. All right, that's Spinning the State for today. We do it every day. Text SPIN to 855-616-1620, and you will get all the details when we come back. Wisconsin, very, very troubling when it comes to banning books. We'll do that and more. It's Spanning the State.
The newest man in charge of the dugout.
I'm thrilled today and excited to announce Pat Murphy.
But he's no stranger to us.
Quiz me, 1973 Notre Dame football. Quiz me, any player on the team.
Manager of our Milwaukee Brewers, Pat Murphy.
I mean, they're game to compete. They're very, very young. Doesn't always matter how much experience you have. It doesn't always matter. They can go ahead and compete with anyone.
Every Tuesday on Wisconsin's Morning News at 7:45. Sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Holiday Automotive.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage. I get that most home shoppers just go with their bank when it comes to getting pre-approved, but that's probably a mistake because banks have a lot of overhead like branches, fancy headquarters, and layers of management. That means their closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 higher than AccuNet's for exactly the same rate. And that's not all. Bank pre-approval letters are usually weak and unconvincing, especially compared to AccuNet's rock-solid, fully verified pre-approval that provides a $2,000 guarantee to you and the seller. Our senior loan consultants will also look at every possible way to strengthen your offer and pre-approval in the eyes of that seller, especially if you're offering over the asking price. We even call the listing agent to reinforce what a great buyer you are. Banks don't do all that. Click on the blue button today at AccuNet.com and let our passionate mortgage pros help you win while you save a bunch of money, too. That's ACCUNET.com.
At my company, we're always looking for people who are passionate and ready to work, but it's not always easy. It's time to broaden our horizons. In Wisconsin, about 600,000 people with disabilities are ready and able to work. People that just need you to believe in them and say yes.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
like this song, but I do not know what this song is. I'm surprised you didn't go with...
You will learn it soon.
Will I?
Yes, because it's a PBS show between the Lions.
Okay.
And it's a reading show.
It's not Reading Rainbow?
Nope.
Could have gone with Reading Rainbow. That's a classic. Well, all right, I will learn it soon.
Yeah, because once Frankie starts to read or you're teaching it, it's one of those shows. They have puppet lions and they're reading, and it's
all right. I can't wait.
It was on at our house a lot, obviously.
Okay,
which is why I heard it. I was like, I know
you knew exactly what it was.
I know that song, and I also know it's about books. And this is a subject that always gets me fired up. Banning books. And the reason I'm bringing it up today, not because there's any new book that's trying to be banned, but there is new information, according to Wisconsin Watch, which is a nonprofit organization. They reviewed records of more than 100 school districts here in Wisconsin. That's 1 in 4 has fielded inquiries about books or formal requests to remove them since 2020. So this information was collected from all but 2 of the state's 421 public school districts. 1 in 4.
It's a lot.
This is insane. Let me give you some of the information before I launch into. Well, maybe we'll run out of time and I won't have a chance to launch into my diatribe. But I would have thought, and maybe Krista, maybe this will surprise you too. When you think of somebody going in front of a school board to request a book be taken out of the library or, banned completely, do you think group or do you think individual, like one angry parent or person?
Well, I know.
Well, you know the answer.
And because this is not, to me, this is not new information. As far as this bigger report is they did a very thorough job. Yes. But as far as this reminds me a lot of the mass voter challenges that we have talked about, as far as there being organized efforts.
Yes.
To disrupt.
Well, that's what it is. Because when you see the footage of it on the news, it's usually one person who's up there railing against it. But it's not one person. It's usually a politician or, like you said, an organized group, usually conservative groups who are doing this. And this study, this Wisconsin Watch review, is the biggest one, the most comprehensive since the pandemic. Now, according to the experts, and this, I'll be interested in your take on this because there seems to be a correlation that most people would not miss. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan are particular hotbeds for book challenges. We also know that those 3 states are major swing states. Mm-hmm. Does it shock you at all that those 2 are combined?
A little bit, only because I would have thought that more dominant conservative states would have had more. Like, I didn't necessarily think about this as a political action to sway or fire people up in swing states,
right?
Versus in more conservative states like a Utah,
right? Alabama,
where there would have been, because this has been a national trend,
sure.
And so I was a little surprised to find out that those 3 states have the highest number.
Yeah, I was too, and I don't know if it's an effort to, as conservatives and liberals are battling in these swing states, to try to see if a more conservative agenda can be pushed at a lower level to see if then it can escalate into higher levels. But that's what it is. A Wisconsin-based program consultant for Freedom to Read. This was the statement that stuck out to me when I saw this story. They called Wisconsin one of the most dangerous states for book bans. I'm shocked by this whole book banning, and we've talked about it before, and I've talked about it for years every time the story comes out. This is just the most evil attempt at suppression that I can imagine. I don't care what you want to read or what you want your kids to read. That's none of my business. That's fine. If you don't want your kids to read certain books, great. By all means, keep them away. If something is required reading at your school, of course you have a right to go in and talk to the principal, and then if you need to, move up to the superintendent, the board, whatever. That's all fine. That's well and good. But for libraries and even for schools, you don't have a right to demand that everybody think as you do. You don't have a right to censor.
Well, clearly they do have a right.
Well,
you think that they shouldn't have a right because what they're doing isn't illegal.
Well, no, it's not illegal. I think the mindset to me is where I say you shouldn't. Where do you get the audacity to believe that your opinion should affect my family?
Yeah,
I don't want my opinion to affect your family. You're welcome to keep anything away from your kids. To me, it smacks of, and we see this all over, it smacks of the way people respond to bullies. When you're a kid, if you get bullied and you keep rolling over, that bully will continue to push you. Once you stand up, and I know this sounds like old school thinking, but it's really not. If you stand up to a bully, usually the bullying stops. School districts are in such tight financial straits now. They look at a bully, one of these groups that's coming in and trying to challenge books. They look at these groups as the bully and think standing up to that bully is going to cost legal fees. Mm-hmm. There's going to be all kinds of battles. We don't have the time, the personnel, or the money to deal with this. Okay, we'll let the challenge go through. So in Wisconsin, 165 unique requesters raised questions about or formally sought to remove 1,617 books across Wisconsin school districts between January 1st, 2020 and October 13th, 2023. That includes 625 formal challenges. I think
the other thing why I say it reminds me of mass voter challenges is because an increasing part of library specialists and district administrators' jobs has become to deal with the requests.
Yes.
And so there's records that show like hundreds of internal emails related to scheduling and reconsideration in the meetings and all the stuff that comes back down to this. And so to bring it full circle,
yes,
I think someone should develop an AI program, just like the UW nurses, to maybe field some of these requests. And so the time management of these librarians doesn't have to go to the requests. Like you let a robot do that.
Right. And somebody texted, and Scott, I guess, is co-hosting the show now. I don't know who Scott is. But do you want your kids reading about transgenderism with photos including sex pictures and drawings? Boy, you are going very reactionary on this. If my child is a junior or senior in high school, yes. If my child, if it's age appropriate material, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid that ideas will cause behavior?
I'd also rather them read something,
right,
than see the exact same topic on TikTok.
There you go. All right.
Which is harder to control.
Yes, it is. Let's do this. Then there's more. It's spanning the state.
Welcome to another episode of Analysis, man.
From Buck superstar Giannis.
And then I'm going to Chris at the time.
What did coach mean? What do you...
And even Green Bay QB Jordan Love. There's only one call for these conversations.
I've never been in a Lambo, and I have to, right? What is this Lambo league?
Tune in to the Thanalysis Show, presented by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Find it today on Apple, Spotify, and anywhere you get podcasts.
So the body knows that it needs to heal itself, but it doesn't know how to concentrate it and target it into just one area. So that's where we come in.
By we, Dr. Ashley Caravelli means the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, QC Kinetics.
We put in those treatments, then it sends out like little signalers to your body. We're able to make the body focus on the areas that need the most healing.
QC Kinetics has gathered brilliant medical minds like Dr. Caravelli and Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in the field of regenerative medicine, to lead the way in these innovative pain treatments.
So at QC Kinetics, we have a whole team working nationwide with cutting-edge research to reach our patients and treat them and know that surgery is no longer their only option.
The consultation is free. Find out if you're a candidate. Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Wait now or wait a little longer. You may have just increased your lifetime income by tens of thousands of dollars. That's how Social Security can work for you. The longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help make the right decision for your situation. You spent decades paying in. Optimize what comes out. Drake & Associates can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. Claim your free Retirement Ready Toolkit that has guides on Social Security. To get our complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Our house was looking kind of drab. Needed a little bit of a facelift, and I found the team that took care of it big time. It's CertaPro Painters. Each business is independently owned and operated right here in Wisconsin. Schedule your free estimate online. It's easy. CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. They will come out and help you protect your home investment with quality painting. It's CertaPro Painters. They are the real deal. They did great work at our house. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
It's Spanning the State. I'm Kristen Bry.
I'm Brian Noonan. On the other side of the news, we're going to get into Disability Rights Wisconsin and their victims advocacy program, which is facing some severe budget cuts. We'll talk to a representative from there and do a lot more. But first, it's ABC News, then local headlines. It's Spanning the State.
ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. President Biden continues to push back on calls for him to end his re-election bid, insisting his cognitive state is fine. White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby agrees.
I have not seen any reason whatsoever to question or doubt his lucidity, his grasp of context, his probing nature, and the degree to which he is completely in charge of facts and figures.
The White House visitor logs show a Parkinson's specialist visited 8 times from last July to this March, meeting one of those times with the president's personal physician. Stepping up border security is one of the planks in the Republican Party's platform. It was released today, a week before the RNC convention. Tropical Storm Barrels left almost 3 million customers without power as it continues to bear down on Houston. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 2:31, I'm Julia Fellow. Your top story: child pornography charges coming for a custodian from the Racine Unified School District. 27-year-old Nicholas Wotnowski of Caledonia admitted to downloading, possessing, and distributing child pornography. More than 44,000 illegal images in his possession. Charges are pending. Bus routes will be affected by the RNC. Milwaukee County Transit System reminds riders to expect delays. The detours could start as soon as Thursday with fencing around the security perimeter. That's when it's going to go up. For safety reasons, riders are asked to go to an existing bus stop since there will be no temporary stops. Only those stops outside the detour zone will be served. Ascension is raising room and board rates at their Southeast Wisconsin hospital locations. It took effect on July 1st. They say the increases were necessary to offset bad debt and charity care, as well as cost increases and reduced reimbursement from government programs. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 41, S&P 500 down 1, NASDAQ down 15. Get an honest opinion of where you are financially and where you're headed. Work with a fee-only fiduciary. Start at annexwealth.com. All right, taking a look at your roads, I see a semi that just back-ended into a car at 4143 894 West at Loomis Road. The right lane is blocked because of that disabled vehicle and semi at this time. And there's huge backups right at Loomis Road. Everything else seems to be fine. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, evening storm chance ends. Mostly cloudy, a low of 66. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a high of 80. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, a chance of rain. Barrel passes south, high of 76. Thursday, mostly sunny, isolated storm chances, a high of 80 degrees. Friday, pick day, the high will be 83 degrees. In Madison, the current temperature is 79. In Waukesha, it's 81. In Milwaukee, it's 82. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 2:33.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. We have two big humps in this business, right before summer and right after fall. And for us, that's when the lines are the longest. Folks usually choose to do their exterior work during those times, and what I'm trying to do here with this message is level out the flow of business so that we don't have to disappoint anyone come November and December because they were hoping to get their work done before the snow flies. I understand where the focus is during summer, but you know what? It really is a great time to get signed up for your exterior work, like siding and windows, because that's when the lines are the shortest, and it's the one time that we're pretty sure we're not going to get any snow. So if you're looking to get your work done, why put it off? The lines are shorter and we'll be ready. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, call Semper Fi, because you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
The Volrath Company implemented a DocuWare content management solution from James Imaging Systems. Volrath Director of Information Systems, John Sharp.
They've helped us upgrade from a previous version of our document management to automate our accounts payable processes, to store the invoices, to the three-way match, and really streamline those processes.
In addition to a DocuWare content management solution, the key to continued success is the James Imaging Systems Solutions Group.
And as an extension of our team, they've got intimate knowledge of why we've done some of the things that we do. And when we run into any issues, they're there to support us.
A DocuWare content management solution from the James Imaging Systems Solutions Group.
They know exactly where we are in our project cycle so that we've always got continuous improvement.
Content management and workflow automation from James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I'm Kristen Bry.
And I'm Brian Noonan. Disability Rights Wisconsin offers a victims advocacy program, easy for me to say, which can provide victims with advocates, attorneys, and connection to community resources. The program has helped many victims over the years, and it's now facing funding cuts. What will that mean to people who need those services in the future? Nadja Rosen is the managing attorney for Victims Advocacy Program, and she joins us to explain how things got to this point and what the future holds. Nadja, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
So can you explain just quickly, what is the Victim Advocacy Program?
So the Victim Advocacy Program at Disability Rights Wisconsin works with all people with disabilities who have been victimized by crime. So that's anything from burglary, being hit by a car by a drunk driver, sexual assault, neglect by a caregiver, identity theft from a caregiver or from some other individual. So we really run the whole gamut. We assist victims of crime after they have been victimized to help them figure out what they want to do next in their lives, whether that is to report to the police, whether they want to get a civil restraining order, whether they want to move, to learn about their rights and to exercise their rights as victims to move on in whatever way they choose to get stability back into their lives.
And Nadja, how many people are served by the program?
Well, we have been providing direct victim service work since late 2016, and we've definitely served thousands at this point between both direct services, going to court with them, helping them report to the police, assisting them in getting services that they need, maybe from the government, making sure that they have mental health service provision that they are looking for in their community, as well as giving people information to be able to exercise their rights on their own or to have self-advocacy materials so they can work on them on their own to be able to make the changes that they're interested in making in their lives.
So Disability Rights Wisconsin has received over $800,000 to do your work throughout the state. Where does that money come from?
So the grant that we have through the Wisconsin Department of Justice, Office of Crime Victim Services, comes to us through the Victim of Crime Act grant, which is provided to each state through the Office on Victims of Crime. And the VOCA grant, the Victim of Crime Act grant, was signed by President Reagan in 1984 as an acknowledgement that victims of crime needed to have specific services in place and people to assist them in navigating their lives post-victimization. And so that grant really enabled victim services providers across the country to be able to really dig in and see what do people need, what do they want, and to help them post-victimization. And that grant, it is funded by the Crime Victim Fund, which is funded not by taxpayer dollars, but by fees, penalties, and now also deferred prosecution agreements from federal defendants. So that fund really goes up and down depending on what is going in. So, and also what the interest rate is, to be frank. And there's also a cap that's put on that fund. So how much money can be even distributed from the fund there's a cap that's put on yearly by Congress. So when I started at Disability Rights Wisconsin, I think the fund was around $11 billion, and it currently is sitting at about $2 billion. So there's been a massive, there's a massive decrease, partly because they gave out a lot of money, which is wonderful, right? Because people this is in recognition of the fact that victims need a wide variety of services. They don't just need to know that, oh, we can listen to you, or, oh, there's going to be prosecution available and it's going to happen. They really need to understand what their options are and how they want to exercise their rights, and they need assistance with basic needs being met post-victimization. So there is a wide gamut of services that were funded with that work. But the problem is that the money isn't building up or going back into that fund as quickly as it, could, should. That's sort of that doesn't really matter to me. It isn't increasing as much, which means that there's not as much money to give out to the states. And so then therefore there's not as much money to give to the individual agencies. So the state of Wisconsin was at one point giving out around $45 million a year. Next fiscal year, which starts October 1, they're going to be giving out 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a massive drop-off. So it's not just that the victim advocacy program at Disability Rights Wisconsin is being impacted. It's all victim service providers in the state. And to be honest, we would have been impacted sooner if the governor's office hadn't decided to make up the shortfall that was already in effect 2 years ago with ARPA money. So the governor's office said, okay, we're going to make up this shortfall with ARPA money. And so those of us who had a grant that was initially given to us in 2019 for 5 years, were able to keep that grant at that same level for all 5 years rather than having the grant go down, as we sort of thought might happen in the last 2 years. So we've been, it's hard to say it exactly like this, but we've been lucky in Wisconsin that the government has figured out how to support the services going forward as long as possible. In other states, that hasn't been the case, and people have had VOCA cuts way earlier. So that's great for us.
But is there anyone who's so is there a change that happened in how the program gets replenished or the funding gets replenished, as far as could it swing back the other way a couple of years from now, or is it fundamentally changed where this is just the new reality?
No, there has been actually a massive fundamental change. So it used to be that it was federal defendants' fees, forfeitures, and a couple other things, I'm sorry, I can't remember, that would go into there. But deferred prosecution agreements, which actually make up a huge majority of what happens with the United States Department of Justice prosecutions, those cases were going into Treasury, not going into the Crime Victims Fund. There was a fix to the law in 2021 that allowed deferred prosecution agreements to now also go into the Crime Victim Fund to help to pay for crime victim services. So that's really great. And that is going to definitely increase the fund dramatically more quickly than would have happened earlier in the 2000s. But regardless, it's not going to happen rapidly enough for us to not have a big shortfall. So there's still a lot of time. There's a lot of room now for people to act, particularly Congress to act, to try to help the situation.
Talking with Nadja Rosen. She's the managing attorney of the Victim Advocacy Program for Disability Rights Wisconsin. When people hear cuts, Nadja, it's kind of abstract. They go, oh, okay, there might be some programs here and there that are no longer funded. Bottom line, street level, how is DRW adapting to these costs? How is it going to affect the people who are using the Victims Advocacy Program right now?
So right now we work with all people with disabilities and all types of victimizations. In the future, if we are not able to, in the future, we're not going to be having the kind of money that allows us to work with all victims of crime. And so we're going to have to turn more people away. So I have been successful in obtaining other grants from the federal government to work with survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, dating violence, and stalking. Those are obviously very, very, very crucial services that need to be provided, but they don't help those people that have experienced crime victimization in other ways, in particularly the ways that some people with disabilities experience them, like caregiver abuse, like the physical abuse that can happen there, like identity theft that can happen, actual monetary theft that can happen. Those issues can't be addressed by grants that fund domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and so in which case we just literally won't be able to serve those people. We won't be able to take calls, or we will take calls and we will send them other places. And it's not like there are other service providers that are out there that can work with this population, because all of us across the state are experiencing the same this funding shortage. And to be quite frank, we are the only agency that's working solely with survivors with disabilities for any crime victimization type in the state of Wisconsin.
And Nadja, I don't know the number. I think I have an idea of what it is, but what is the difference of the rate of victims who have disabilities versus people who don't?
Well, what I can say is, I don't know that I can answer that exactly, but what I will say is this, that what we know from statistics from the United States Department of Justice is that people with disabilities are 4 times more likely to experience violent victimization than those people without disabilities. We also know that people with intellectual disabilities are 7 times more likely to be sexually assaulted than people without disabilities.
That's
horrifying. And the majority of people with disabilities believe that they were victimized because of their disability, because they believe, and it bears out in what we have seen in our work, that they were targeted by folks who knew that their victims would be especially vulnerable and unable to assist themselves, or not be believed by law enforcement post-victimization.
So, Nadja, what's the answer? How does that funding go up? How do you fight so you don't have to drop these programs? What's the next step?
Well, some steps have already been taken. So the Wisconsin State Legislature passed Act 241 earlier in this year that gave some money to fund domestic violence and sexual assault service providers to continue their work. That was obviously incredibly, incredibly important, and we are so grateful that that money has been distributed and will be distributed to agencies very quickly. There's also hopefully work being done in Congress. I know that there are some bills right now that are looking to expand further what else can go into the Crime Victim Fund, and I know that folks from my office and folks from other offices who are impacted by this shortfall have been meeting with people on the Hill to try to discuss how to make a fix, because really I think this is Congress's, next step to say, yes, we believe that victims of crime need assistance, and we'd like to be able to give them consistent funding, not funding that people are then going to have to scramble for every year or every 3 years, but consistent funding that they know that they can count on, so that survivors know that they can actually go to the doorway of Disability Rights Wisconsin and get services and not be turned away.
Well, Nadja, we appreciate you coming on and sharing the story, and hopefully things take a turn for the better. Nadja Rosen is the managing attorney for Victim Advocacy Program, part of Disability Rights Wisconsin. Nadja, thanks very much for being with us today.
And thank you. Take care.
You too. All right, when we come back, oh my goodness, there's a new Wisconsin actor. Is it you? Were you cast in a new MGM Plus series?
No, I got a job.
All right. You got a million jobs, but I thought maybe you'd take on one more. Who knows? We'll talk about that and more when we come back at Spanning the State.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, with a tip for today's home shoppers. You already know inventory is low and both competition and home prices are high. That's probably why you should not go with your bank or your real estate agent's mortgage pal for your pre-approval. You see, the banks have lots of branches, fancy headquarters, vice presidents and assistant vice presidents. And the loan officers who get referrals from real estate agents, they're typically very highly paid. Who do you think pays for all that extra expense? Turns out it's you. High overhead and high compensation naturally translate into higher closing costs. At AccuNet, our extreme efficiency and low overhead mean your closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks and other lenders for exactly the same rate. Don't light your hard-earned money on fire. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval today by clicking on the blue button and put the money you'll save in closing costs towards something for your new home. That's ACCUNET.com.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Jen Latta here from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. I have told you about the delicious pizza you can find at Proof Pizza inside St. Kate. Now there's even more to be excited about with new sandwiches on the menu. Available every day from 11 to 4, you can enjoy options like the turkey pesto, the meatball hero, the Italian hoagie, and more. Skip the same old lunch at your desk and grab a delicious sandwich from Proof instead. Order inside the restaurant or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the new sandwiches and the rest of the menu at proofpizzamke.com.
Fleet Farm is here to help you get ready for fun on the water. This week, get 25% off our entire selection of water towables. Single, double, even triple rider inflatables. They're all on sale. Plus, don't miss Kids Fishing Day, Saturday, July 13th from 10 a.m. through 1 p.m. We'll be hosting fun, interactive fishing lessons and games for kids of all ages. Find great deals on everyday summer fun at Fleet Farm.
Family owned and operated. Yep, we sure are. Since 1970. And I know you've probably heard it a million times. But the words family owned and operated hold a lot of water. They mean you can count on dealing with an expert. Because when your dad runs the show, he teaches you all that he knows. They mean prompt service. Because it's not just our job, it's a big part of our life.